So in 2015, I killed a deer on the first day of gun season in Indiana, which was the first day I went hunting after my injury, whenever I got injured on January 19th of 2015, and I got a 7-point buck on the first day of gun season in Indiana. So this year I was using the same setup, and the setup I use is I hunt from a Yamaha Viking, which is a UTV, and if you don't know what that is, I got a video that you can check out on how I hunt from it. And I also got a crossbow earlier this year, Mission MXB Sniper Light, and I did a video on that, so you can check that out too. So I went hunting a few times in bow season, and I've never been bow hunting, so it was a lot harder than gun hunting. And the first deer that I got shot on in bow season came in about 40 yards in front of me in the woods that I was hunting, and I shot it, hit it right in the shoulder. Good shot. My dad was with me, and we both thought we heard it fall down. And I use Illuminox, which is just basically a knock on the end of the arrow, and whenever it impacts something, the knock lights up. And I thought I could see the knock about 20 yards where the deer ran, and so I thought it was down. So my dad went and checked, and it was just the arrow. Apparently the arrow hit high in the shoulder, and it hit a hard bone and just fell out. I made a good shot on it, and whenever I shot it, whenever I pulled the trigger, the deer heard the bow go off, and it kind of hunkered down, so that made the arrow hit a little bit high. But my dad tracked the blood for about 100 yards and couldn't find anything, so we didn't end up finding the deer. So I hunted a few more times, and I got another shot on a deer in the exact same spot, and I had my friend with me this time, and he told me that the deer was about 45 yards, which it wasn't, because I aimed for 45 yards and shot right over the back of it, and the arrow hit a tree. Then I decided to go to a different spot, and me and my dad were hunting, and we were hunting the edge of a cornfield, and the wind was coming out of the east, so right behind us, and we were facing west, so the wind was going right to the cornfield. But we have an ozonics, which we just got like a week before, so this is the first couple times we were trying it out. We honestly didn't even think it would really work, but these deer came up about 15 to 20 yards in front of us. They came from about 80 yards away on the wood line and came right up to us about 15 or 20 yards. They didn't even know we were there, and there was one small buck and a doe, so I was trying to shoot the doe, and they were moving to my right, so I was trying to position over like this, trying to angle my bow, and the safety was off, which I knew, but my finger pulled the trigger, shot right over the back of it because I wasn't on it yet, because I was trying to get positioned, and the deer didn't even really phase them because the bow is silent, and they went over there and sniffed the arrow, but obviously we couldn't load the crossbow in the UTV. I hunted a few more times and didn't have any luck, and me and my friend went hunting at a property that he can hunt on, and we went there and saw about a 4-pointer come in all the way up to 20 yards of us, and I wasn't going to shoot that, so we let it go. We went out to the same property a couple days later, and we got everything set up, and it was a cornfield, and me and my friend were just talking. I told him I was going to play some music, because I told him deer like music, and we were just laughing and talking and everything, and what do you know, my friend says there's a deer out there, and it was kind of down in this little valley in the cornfield, so I couldn't really see it too good yet to make a shot, and I was hunting with the 243 this time because it was gun season, and I waited till the deer got out there where I could had a shot on it, and my friend turned off the safety, but my finger was in the trigger guard, and the safety was hard to turn off, and whenever he did, it moved the gun forward, and it made my finger pull the trigger and went boom, and the deer didn't even really do anything. It just kind of like perked its ears up. So I put another one in it because it was a bolt action, and I thought I was on it, pulled the trigger again, didn't even freaking phase it, didn't hit it or nothing. And so I put another one in it, and I dropped it right where it was. Then about 30 minutes later, a big buck comes out into the cornfield, probably about 100, 125 yards away, and I try to get on it, and the gun goes off again by accident. So the deer moves about 10 yards in front of where it was standing, and I work the bolt again, thinking I put another one in it, and I was right on it. I pulled the trigger, and it went click. My friend's like, "Oh, don't tell me we're out of ammo," and I was like, "Yep." He's like, "There has to be some more ammo in here somewhere." I was like, "I don't think so." So my dad had to bring us more ammo, and we didn't have any more luck after that. And then the next time I went hunting, I went in my dad's truck. And if you don't know, you can get a disability hunting permit if you have a disability, and you can hunt from a motored vehicle as long as the vehicle is not on or moving. So we were hunting at a different spot, and we were hunting there, and my dad turned the wheels and then turned the truck off, so that way if we had to move, he could just turn it on and press the gas and didn't really have to mess with the steering wheel. But after about 30 minutes of waiting there, a couple deer, actually 3 deer, came out on this point in the cornfield. I rested my gun's forestock on the mirror because my dad has an F-250 and the mirrors come out. So basically the mirror's here and the window is over here, and there's a little bit of space right here where this bar connects. So I just rested my gun on there and got a shot and dropped the doe right there. So then I had my doe tags already filled out, basically. So now it was time to get a buck. So then me and my friend that went hunting together, where I got that doe, my first doe this year, we went hunting on the same property, but it was kind of by this tower line. And we tried going there a couple times before, but they were working on the cell tower there, so we didn't want to screw up the hunt by hunting there. But we were actually going to go to his great-grandpa's, and he said go this way because we were running late and we were also low on gas. But when we left, he said, "Do you think we'll be good on gas?" Because it was kind of a long way out there. I said, "Yeah, we'll be good." But he said go this way because it's a little bit faster, so we did. And we saw his cousin going up the driveway to hunt, which was kind of weird because if we would have went the normal way, we wouldn't have known that, and 2 people would be hunting the same property and we wouldn't have known it. So we decided to go turn right and not go there, and we were going down the road and the low fuel light turns off. So now we're like pretty much out of gas, and we decided to go to the gas station and fill up. And then he asked me if I wanted to go to the cell tower or somewhere else. I said cell tower, so we went out there and got set up in a cornfield. And a few does came by about 50 yards away about 30 minutes later. And we were debating on whether to shoot one of those or not. And we didn't. And good thing we didn't, because then a buck came by on this wood line straight ahead of us. And my friend looked in the binoculars and he said, "Yeah, it's a shooter." So I got ready and he turned off the safety and I pulled the trigger, and it ran about 30 yards in the cornfield into the wood line, and then ran about another 20 yards in the woods. And we drove up there and couldn't find any blood, and that kind of worried us. And then I realized that the shot that I took was a good 200, 230 yards. And well, in Indiana you could never hunt with high-powered rifles, but this year you could. And I was using my 243, and my friend went in the woods, and I hear him yelling. He's like, "Yeah, you got it." And I was like, "Yeah." And then he said, "It's a nice one." And then he said, "It has a kicker." And then he said, "It has 2 kickers." Then he said it's a 12-pointer, and the stuff just kept getting better what he was saying. And so I pulled up there, and I couldn't go in the woods with the UTV because there wasn't any paths cleared, but he pulled it out. He dragged the deer out of the woods, and then he told me he was going to pick me up and set me down by it to get pictures. So he did, and he got pictures. Then he dragged me back into the UTV, and then I backed up, and he pulled the deer up about 3/4 of the way, but the UTV was like this, and the bed we were loading it in was down here at the bottom. So he got up there, and I was like, I'm going to pull forward and level this out so it's not much of a strain on you, because he couldn't get the last like half of the deer in there. So he did and got it in there, and it was a heck of a hunt. This deer was really cool because it was 12-pointer, and it had 2 kickers off of it, which if you don't know what a kicker is, basically on one of the antlers, if it has a thing that's popping out like the back or side, that's a kicker. And it had it on both sides of the antlers, which was really cool. Also, this deer's antlers was really symmetrical, which isn't very common. And I thought it was a cool antlers because it was symmetrical and it had a kicker on both sides, which I never saw before. So I'm getting this deer mounted, and this is the first deer that I've ever got mounted. So I should get that in a few months, and I could have probably got a couple deer mounted, and there'll be pictures here in a minute. Before, like in 2014, I got a pretty nice one, and then I think 2013 I got a pretty good one at my house, but I never got those mounted. So if you want to read an article that I wrote, there'll be a link down below, and it's not up yet, but it should be in a couple days. But if it's not up, there'll still be a link down below where you can read my deer season from last year. They're both really good reads, but if you are paralyzed and you want to go hunting, well, I highly recommend it because hunting is one of my favorite things to do. I like hunting better than fishing, and if you want to know how I do it, there will be links down below where I made a video on the setup, on how I hunt. You can watch the video. So thanks for watching.